Hello, and welcome back to another video. My name is Pumpkin, and I'm super excited to tell you about this new upcoming multiplayer farming sim, Fae Farm. The game is releasing on Nintendo Switch and the PC on the 8th of September this year, which is actually sooner than you think. This year is a blur, and I needed to slow down. I am prematurely aging way too quickly. But I was lucky enough to be invited to play the game before it was released, for some reason, so thank you, Phoenix Labs. You're amazing! And I'm going to show you just a little bit of what you're likely to expect come September. Now, full disclaimer, if you are new here and you're expecting some in-depth gaming news content or gameplay footage from a pro gamer, I'm afraid you have me instead. And just to cover my butt, so to speak, this video will contain spoilers about early gameplay and features that feature early on in the game. Obviously, I mean, if you click the video, I assume that's what you're expecting to see, but you know, I gotta say it, gotta make sure. But enough of my babbling, let's get on with the video. So let's start things off with a little bit of character customization. As you can see, we have a few different body types to choose from, which is very cool. And just look at all those different skin tone options. That is very impressive, and I'm so glad to see it. More games need this level of skin tone options. This is what we want to see, people. We then move on to the eyes and eyebrows, a couple different shapes to choose from, and again, a load of eye colors with the option to have heterochromia as well. Moving on to the hair, again, you can see a theme developing here. There are a lot of color options. This is what we like to see. Not just standard blonde or brown, we've got variation in tone with pinks and greens and blues, so you can have any hair color you want. This is what character customization should look like. I'm looking at you, Pokemon.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Now, there aren't an extensive amount of hairstyles, but the ones we do have are super cute. Hi, this is Editing Pumpkin here. I've just noticed that there's actually a little arrow here, so presumably there are more hairstyles. I'm just too dumb to notice. So just ignore what I'm about to say, because it's probably not true. Anyway, back to the video. And I don't know, maybe later in the game you can unlock more styles. Who's to say? Not me, that's for sure. I have no idea. We've also got skin details, which I love. Give me my pasty white girl freckles, thank you. And now my absolute favorite part of the character customization are the gender options. Look, we've actually got a they them pronoun. How absolutely exciting. This is long overdue for games like this, and I'm so happy to see it. And I was talking to a member of the Phoenix Labs, and he said that the dialogue options are actually different if you pick they them. The NPCs will have different custom dialogue when addressing you, and it's not just a weird variation of the boy girl dialogue, which is awesome. Though I don't know what that might be, as I just picked the boring she/her button, but the fact that the option is there in the first place makes me, and I'm sure loads of other people, very happy. We then move on to the voices, which when you listen to them back to back are kind of terrifying, especially this one. And then I was on my way, starting the game, getting this very pretty, beautifully animated cutscene about finding a message in a bottle and setting out on a voyage across the sea to a faraway island called Arizona. No, wait, not Arizona, Azoria. Although Arizona is pretty far away from me, I guess, but no, it's Azoria. In classic farming sim fashion, you have Mayor Merritt greeting you into this new world where you're now the proud owner of an abandoned farmhouse. She tells you the place is wonderful, but basically there are lots of things wrong with the area that need fixing, so 10 points to anyone who can tell me whose job that's going to be. One of those things being a magic wind, sorry about my beans, that have turned inanimate objects alive. And she tells you that they've shoved them all into the mines to keep them out the way, so you best believe we're getting mining levels with some unique enemies to fight. They're amazing. She then gives you a map and tells you to go to your new house because she's left a welcome package there, and you guys know that I'm a fan of packages. They're never going to invite me back. So once I'd opened my package, which contained my backpack and a load of tools, Merritt told me I could rename my home, which I completely hammed up and clicked the B button and then couldn't seem to edit it again. So the one piece of creativity I was granted, I ruined it. Now you can see why I'm not a pro gamer. But anyway, Merritt then tells me to clear up my mess of a farm, reminding me that I'm playing a farming sim, and I will have to grind for wood, stone, and other materials in order to craft things at a later date. But I'm not a fan of manual labor, so I decided to procrastinate a little by looking through all the menus in the game, and instead I found out that Frida's birthday was on Saturday the 7th of spring, which I'm sure is far more important than struggling to weed my garden, as you can see here. One thing I do really like though is that the tools will swap themselves out for the item that you're trying to interact with. So see here, I use my scythe on the weeds, but I automatically whipped out my axe to chop this here tree, my pickaxe for the stone, shovel for these muddy puddles. You get the idea? That certainly takes away a lot of the irritation with using the wrong tools and wasting energy like you do in other games. Or, you know, accidentally destroying your crops. So many fallen strawberries. And of course, the most important thing was collecting this arugula, or rocket as we call it in the UK. I don't know why we call it that. Then Merritt told me to go and place some furniture inside my house, which I presume later in the game is going to be where the fun decorating aspect comes in. So we're getting some real Animal Crossing DDV vibes here. I placed this woven stool down and I was so excited I had to go and tell Merritt. She was very impressed. Although she did keep calling me user, which I'm assuming is because the game takes your console name and not that she was just being mean to me, but hey, I'm used to that. Next up, it was cooking time, because what's a farm sim without a little meal prep? I had a bit of trouble placing my cooking fire because I'm dumb and kept running out of the buildable area. I wanted to put the fire nearer to my house, but sadly, that's not allowed. But eventually I got it down and made myself some grilled arugula. You'll also have this storage shed, which is very helpfully filled with all the materials you'll need to build a soil bed and some turnip seeds. Just craft those up, plonk them down somewhere on your farm and plant your seeds. Simple as that. So it appears there's no hoeing around on this farm. Not with a tool anyway. I was then instructed to go visit Eddie the Mariner down at Stay a While Bay. Little did I know, Eddie was about to become my arch nemesis. But before that, here is where the game speaks to me. If you've been a viewer of my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I am directionally challenged, to say the least. I have about as much sense of direction as a yogurt pot, and if there's a chance for me to get lost in a game, I will. But this game allows you to toggle characters and track them, so I don't have to worry about navigating the map early game. And for later in the game, when I'm trying to romance someone, I can know exactly where they are at all times. That sounds oddly sinister and creepy. Moving on. On my way to see Eddie, I got distracted by these pretty shells and had to stop and pick them up. And then I saw this adorable crab that reminded me of that one YouTube short with the crab cleaning its eyes. You know, the one.
He's so cute! Oh my god!
And I really wanted to make friends with this crab, but it had clearly already heard me talking about stalking the townsfolk and vanished into a puff of smoke. Touché game. And then I met Eddie. Soon as I saw the word fisherman, I knew I was in for a rough time. I knew this man was going to force a fishing rod onto me and make me go fishing. My least favorite thing about farming sims. So Eddie thrust his old rod into my reluctant hands and sent me on my way. I found a fish, I got out my rod, and the first thing I did was fall in the water. Classic. And of course, I struggled at fishing. The fish didn't want to know. It took one look at me and decided, I know this is the tutorial and I'm supposed to make this easier for her, but she's a dumb bitch. Eventually though, it decided to play fair with me, and after a bit of back and forth, I caught a salmon. Took it back to Eddie, and I don't know if this little symbol means he's better friends with me now, but I can assure you, Eddie, it's entirely one-sided. Next up, go meet B-Man, where Eddie is CJ, Mel is Flick. And I'm always a much bigger fan of bug catching than I am fishing, so I jumped at the chance to go visit Mel. Once again, attached my GPS to him and off I went. And just look how pretty the landscapes are. Look at that bridge, that waterfall. Isn't it lovely? My word. Now, Mel. Mel is far more up my alley. He gave me a net and told me to catch some critters, so off I went. I caught a couple peacock butterflies, accidentally trod on a mushroom that nearly teleported me into space and scared me half to death, caught a firefly, a brown snail, and then got lost and couldn't find my way back to Mel. But I did find this handy energy boost. Neat. But eventually I remembered about the tracking thing and found my way back. Then Mel told me about selling items for florins, which is this game's currency, and said to go visit the chairwoman in the marketplace. So more tracking, and off I went again. She told me to put items on the market table and they'd be sold overnight. So I sold my bugs and shells I'd collected that day, and then, as if by magic, Merritt was there to congratulate me on making it through the tutorial without dying. And that was day one. Now we move on to part 2 of the footage. So they put me into a random game file, which was just like in the middle of the game, I suppose. And now I have wings, which is cool. And despite having wings, I still somehow managed to fall in the water and do my great impression of a drunk dolphin. I'm great at this. But anyway, I had been told that there were mines I could explore, so I very eagerly teleported over there to check them out. I started exploring some of the levels, and I didn't notice because I was so overjoyed with how pretty the game looked that this little miasma bar was getting higher the longer I stayed in there. And you'd think I'd say, it's getting rather foggy in here. Gee, that can't be a good thing. But I did not notice, and so I think I choked to death on my first venture into the mines. So I decided it was time to leave, and I'm never coming back here. So I went back to my farm, and everything was fine. I checked out my coziness score, whatever that is, but I'm assuming it works where certain items have different levels of comforting, relaxing, and inspiring. And if you place those items in your home, you can increase your score for each category. Similar to games like Cozy Grove or My Sims that have similar features like that too. I also noticed I could craft a load of really cool workstations, such as a loom, a food prep table, a potion brewing cauldron, and my personal favorite, a beverage station. Because after a long day of farming, what I desire most is the ability to make myself a nice hard drink. Speaking of farming, look, I found some of my animals. This cute fluffy rabbit creature is adorable, and I want to protect them at all costs. I gave them a little brush, and now I think we're besties. And there were chickens, blue chickens, so no need to romance Shane over here for your blue chickens. Looks like they may just come like that. I also wasn't sure if I'd interrupted whatever these two were doing, so I decided to leave them to it. I collected some eggs, forced this rabbit to follow me so I could have some moral support when I went back to the mines to try my luck at the floating ruins again. Although I shortly discovered the rabbit wouldn't actually follow me into the mines. Coward. But this time before I could die again, I took a potion and I was able to escape that nasty fog unharmed. Now what? I tried attacking some statues and nothing happened. I tried gathering materials, but I couldn't figure out how to do that either. And then the day ended and I was launched back into my home. So a very productive and efficient day all round, I'd say. I'm so good at video games. But I did find some crops my character had previously planted, so I started plucking those out the ground willy-nilly for no real reason other than I liked the sound it made. I found some cows that upon seeing me tried to escape by sinking into the floor. I really can't blame them, I guess. And then I'm not really sure what I did to this sheep thing, but it became very bald after I was finished with it. I know if I went to the hairdressers and had that happen to me, I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but this sheep seemed to appreciate it, so what can I say? I came across this cute little potion crafting setup, so presumably this is how you make all the little buffs for exploring the mines. I went into my house, found a food prep table, and noticed there were pumpkins, so I chopped them up. Then I had a little look at the meals I could potentially make. There seemed to be quite a lot of nice looking food options, which is always fun, and I'm sure they all have different benefits to them, like some will be good for farming, mining, fishing, etc. I made this fish and mushroom soup, which sounds disgusting, but apparently it's good for mining, so I thought I'd better have that. I went back to the floating ruins and once again tried to do some mining. And then this here statue tried to land on my head and I was like, hey, I don't like that. Stop it. And then I got some ootats, which sounds kind of rude, but I won't question it. I then walked over to this here green goo and it shot me into the sky like that mushroom from earlier. And I found this a lot of fun. Whee! I then discovered some different enemies. A snapper and this here, oh my gosh, talker? A talker, that's cool. It's a clock. These are actually really fun enemies, and I think there's a lot more imagination that's gone into them than, I don't know, the classic slimes. This area was full of enemies, and every single one of them wanted to sample my sweet pumpkin pie, and all I wanted to do was harvest those cute little pink gems over there, and they just wouldn't let me be. They pretty much nearly killed me, so I had to skedaddle out of there before they could. And then I tried eating my gross soup, and it did nothing for my health, so that clearly proves soup does not cure you when you're sick, as I have long suspected. Soup lovers, don't come at me. Soup is gross. I've said what I've said. But it turned out not to matter anyway, as I got too cocky bouncing on the green goo and overshot my platform, which is a sentence I didn't think I'd say today. But lucky for me, it teleported me back to the start of the level and I could just escape back home with my cow that is now following me, apparently. And after a long time of me struggling to find my way home, finding a bed that was apparently not good enough for my character to sleep in, and then having to find my other home, I finally got some sleep and once again made no money. Reality. Now see, we'd been tasked with making a clock, and to do that we needed those pretty pink rose quartz gems I'd been trying to get in the mines, and in order to use those I needed to polish them first in a gem polisher. It took me a few tries to figure out how the crafting mechanics worked, but I think I made do. Then went back into my house, crafted the clock item, and spent a painfully long time deciding where I was going to place it, and then I somehow got myself trapped behind it, but never mind, I was fine. So that brought up my comforting level. I think. After that, I had a little look in my almanac at some of the items you might be able to get in the game. Looks like there's loads of other crops that we can get, which is pretty cool. I can't wait to find out all the vegetables I'll be able to grow. And there's lots of furniture and wall decor items, so I'm very happy about that. You guys know how much I love my wall items in decorating games. I then decided I'd go meet some of the townsfolk and put my little tracking device onto Aspen. Now here you can see that I somehow broke my game and everyone looks a little mosaic, but I'm sure that's just a bug and that will be ironed out before the game releases. Or maybe the people in the town don't want me to know their identities, which is also pretty fair. Now, I don't know if Aspen here is romanceable, but I kind of hope they are because despite the pixely face, I can already tell I'm in love. This appeared to be the marketplace, so all the NPCs here had shops I could buy different things from. I found an inn and headed straight over to the bar because I saw there was a pumpkin on it, and just had a chat with as many of the NPCs as I could. The thing I like as well is that beside their name, it gives you a little description of their personality trait or their trade, which is a cute touch. I found this cute vampire looking lady sitting at the back of the club, and it gave me this grayed out text to gift her, so I'm assuming, and this is only an assumption, that Pyria here is romanceable, and I should get her some black zinnia if I want her to be my wife, which I'm kind of tempted by. But then I came across Argyle, who is apparently a fan of frogs, and now my heart is torn because same buddy same. Just look at the cute little frog they're holding. And then I caught sight of this majestic beauty. Look at that pink bouncy baby. I had to catch it. I spent a long time trying to catch that pink frog, but finally I caught it and oh my god, look at it. How precious and perfect is that? Oh, and apparently it's rare too. What a find. I need this frog in my life. Oh, and also look at all the other cute critters you can catch. Those bees are adorable. And I don't know what a blobbin is, but I want one. And it looks like there's loads of other creatures still to discover, but unfortunately my time was up and I had to say goodbye to my new pink frog friend and stop playing. And that's it. So what do you guys think? Do you like the look of this game? Is this potentially a game you'd want to play for yourself? Let me know. Or if you want to see me play this again at a later date, tell me that too. Once again, a massive thank you to Phoenix Labs for letting me play the game. It was a lot of fun. If you liked the video, don't forget to tickle that like button. It just told me it glugged a whole litre bottle of cola, so watch out. Comment, subscribe, all that jargon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.